Welcome back to Apollo Justice, and now we're on part 3.
Enjoy while it's your game, Apollo.
Stop staring into my soul, please.
Yeah. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers.
Uh,
The judge heard that and is not impressed. A full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make, in my experience.
True.
Ooh, the judge
Are
used to be a
you going to
gambler.
tell the judge off for
that
gambling?
alone is enough to suspect Lesbian scrupulous tactics.
Oh, come on,
Scrupulous.
Payne.
So, if you
Mr.
win at
Gavin?
all, you're a cheat.
Yeah. What's a full house?
Everywhere you look.
Apollo,
Lawyers these days, you don't know your poker.
You were judging people for
can't say
playing the
this
game
very
earlier,
well.
Payne.
I can't say this bodes well for your case or career.
uh,
Some kind of secret court poker ring?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to side with Apollo on this one. What exactly knowing poker is required to be a lawyer?
It's kind of one of the fundamental things in LEGO. Basically, it's considered street knowledge. Anyway, you know the terms one pair, two pair, and three of a kind, yes?
Yes, but that has
yeah,
nothing to
no
do with
problem.
anything.
Actually,
It's
it
a
does.
metaphor, Pedro.
Well, okay, fine. It has something to do with the case, but whatever.
That's why we're
The same
explaining it.
number makes a pair, and 3 makes a 3 of a kind.
Basically, Pedro, this is for people who don't know about poker. Handy.
Oh, I know that. I know that. I just didn't think Apollo's scolding was fair.
Yeah, I'll be
Hey,
honest though.
whoa. I'm sorry. Implying that scolding against the defense attorneys is more often than not fair in this universe.
I know, but
I'll
even
be-
by his attorney standards, it seems to be a bit unnecessary.
honest,
I
though.
don't know.
I'll be honest, I love Casino Royale, but even now I'll admit it was really hard to follow the poker game in that because I have no clue how that works.
Exactly. That's why here it's just kept simple and straight to it.
Anyway, we forget there's an easy way to make a full house and go under. Sorry, you
No,
cheat.
don't do me. Ahem. The defense may cross-examine the witness.
So
Yes.
basically, they're implying that Phoenix has cheated in order to win.
If he did cheat in the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand.
True.
Apparently sucks even
Who's
at
ever
cheat.
heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat?
Tell that to Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, if the guy's
Cross-examination.
Too soon.
Last
No,
time,
can-
both men had full house. There's 4 on each card in deck. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious.
Hold it! How was it clear?
Defendant,
What?
he played a 5th ace.
Wow, Phoenix was that stupid.
Fifth ace?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the most dumb things to do.
I still remember both hands very well.
It was that horrifying.
Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces.
Mr. Smith goes to Japanifornia.
Smith.
And Mr. Wright's 2.
So the Ace of Spades was the culprit.
Get it? Because he's an
Obviously,
ace
cheating was a
attorney.
foot, or perhaps should they say a hand? Wink, wink.
He's trying to recapture the glory days back when he had hair. It's not working. Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke.
Very well. The witness will add this detail to her testimony, please, including the joke.
That's painful.
Shut up.
Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all.
Is it?
Da.
Well, let's have a look at the... Yeah, I'm going to show you my...
Apollo.
Let's have a little scan through. There we are. 5 aces, eh? Let's
Da.
count them. 1, 2, 3, 4...
Yeah.
You might have missed one there. Look.
Oh, get it, guys? There's 4 aces because this is Ace Attorney 4. Yeah, cute little hidden
Objection!
jack.
It appears the witness is mistaken.
How so, Apollo?
Mistaken? But my name? I've told you how many times at this point.
Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony. That's the photo of the chips, is it not?
There are cards next to them, Judge.
Justice.
Well,
Perhaps
take a
you
shot
ought
at
to
it.
explain your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point.
Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo. What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony? Yeah, well, what
I
doesn't?
wonder. Well,
We look, only 4 aces? This witness can't count. Take that! Miss Orly, in your testimony, you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces. Snap.
Well, cop,
that's objection.
Musketeers.
Well, maybe the witness was simply confused.
How could you...
Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question. Payne, are you
Objection!
blind?
No,
Take
he's
another look at
not.
the evidence.
Oh, he needs glasses or so.
Tio, he's not been fine ever since he lost his hair. He's only gotten worse after he lost more hair.
As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand.
Like he's so desperate he's trying to grow hair out through his sides.
Where's this 5th ace? I see cheating all right, and it's going on right here in this courtroom.
About time somebody called it out.
Cheating going on in the court, blasphemy. 2 aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces total.
Good, Judge, you can count.
Hardly proof of cheating.
wait! Please! It is true. I've seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating. I swear it to you.
So the cards were
That's
changed.
odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day.
Whatever.
Maybe she's a pathological liar. You're right to trust your instincts for once.
Star Fox.
Mr. Gavin?
Who knows what lies in store for us in the trial? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion.
No. What might that be, Mr. Gavin?
If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards.
Okay, is it possible?
The cards?
Mr. Payne,
Yes?
look at me when I'm talking to you. The players' hands that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court.
Very well. The prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine?
Have a pick.
The victim's
Have a look.
cards or the defendant's cards? We've already looked at the victim's cards. These cards don't prove cheating was going on. Nothing will. Now, which of these hands is more suspicious? I've already looked at the victim's one, but screw it, look at it again anyway. It was the victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness's testimony.
Interesting.
The defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards.
Okay.
Very well. Mr. Payne, if you would.
Wow, he ain't even asking the bailiff. Now the prosecution's gotta do
Very
it.
well.
I see you moving the cards.
Well, time's a wasting. Get to it, Justice.
Yes, sir. Alright, let's have a look at the cards then.
Alright, is this a
There we
puzzle?
go.
Sort of.
How many please don't stare at me like that.
When examining evidence, be sure to view it from all sides. Try using the dials on the evidence viewer.
Oh, so we're
Yeah,
bringing back that
They're bringing
from...
they brought back this.
Okay.
They brought back the path from Rise of the Ashes. Basically, just like in Rise from the Ashes, you can turn the dials on the item you're looking at to view it from any angle you wish. You can even zoom in or out.
I will admit, it's kind of a shame that in games after this, they limited this mechanic to only certain bouts of evidence, whereas at least keeping it as an option here. Basically, as you'll recall, this is similar to Rise from the Ashes gameplay. But I'll go more into that a bit later after this plot point.
Your Honor, look at this! One of the victims' cards!
Well, take a look at
The
this.
back is a different color!
Uh-oh.
Elderly you American plebs.
Not just that, I'm sorry. Well, no, okay, in poker it's used just one simple deck, but in a lot of card games, two identical decks are used, so...
In official games, though, you're mainly only supposed to use one set of cards, because otherwise, if the backs are different colors...
No, actually it's right. In case of poker, it's just one deck. Good.
Yeah. What was that, Miss Orly?
No! I mean, yet! I merely said, I have...
You're okay, lady.
Your Honor.
Plot twist, Olga is a cyborg. Mr. Gavin?
From Detroit
Yes?
Become Human?
No, Dwibs, she's a Zygon in disguise.
No, Joe, but I don't like this game, but this game is still Shakespeare compared to Detroit Become Human.
To cheat?
Yes, but hold on, it wasn't the defendant's hand. I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend, a comrade, shall we say? The dealer.
And that was, of course, Miss So Really.
Oh.
That exclamation.
Wait, so you mean... This witness, Miss Orly...
She's the cheater. A professional, I'd wager.
See what I mean? This case, Christoph is solving the case for you. Like, my ears. Joe, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but don't go too overboard, please.
Also, the judge, what happened to your eyes?
Focus, Justice! Time to take advantage of her! I mean, of her mistake!
Apollo, that's not a phrase you want to mention in a court of law.
Especially nowadays.
Because you didn't say it aloud. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard.
You see, this is the future, where people learn to think before they act on such occasions.
That's impossible! But I put the card in the light's hands.
Olga's the worst freaking liar.
Boy,
No! Miss Olga Orly conspired to cheat, not with my clients, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith!
Okay, new corner theme. I really do like this corner theme.
Ugh!
It's pretty much Phoenix's one from the first game, just jazzed up.
Yeah, true.
Well,
if you listen
it's
to...
very Mega Man X-esque, I guess.
Yeah, basically
Therefore,
Oh, go on.
it's not hard to outrun an altercation between her and the victim.
Say what?
Wait, you don't mean...
Oh, yeah.
The defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga Orly, are you?
What a surprise.
First time for everything and for everyone.
Time for justice.
Oh, come on.
There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident.
Basically, yeah, like Dwibs said, this is kind of a remix of the first game's corner theme.
And if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means...
Who could
I
it be?
am!
What?
The defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga Orly, of murder!
Oh, she dead.
Ladies and gentlemen...
But it's okay, the lobster dinner's okay.
We apologize to all those wearing headphones. Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Miss Olga Orly?
It appears she has lost consciousness, Your Honor.
Mr. Justice? Your Honor! You... Your Honor. It seems you've presented a new possibility to the court. What do you mean by you, me? one suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith. And that means
Somebody really must have hated Matrix to have killed Mr. Smith.
this court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
Yay! Hung jury! If we had a jury.
What?
Yeah, there's no jury here.
Wait,
I did it! I held out!
I did my job!
I see no point in prolonging the trial this day.
wait, we are having a first trial that's
Well,
prolonging
will need
more
to
than
make
one
further
day?
inquiries.
Objection!
Of course.
Of course, Mr. Wright? And this is the moment where Phoenix hijacks the case.
Implying he didn't already.
You can't end the trial here, Your Honor.
No, Christoph
Sorry.
did that beforehand.
Not
Well, it's
yet.
clear we're both in cahoots or something at this point. What nonsense is the defendant spewing now?
Well, they are good friends
Yeah,
to
he-
you.
But
Think.
he's not an attorney anymore, so...
One of the cards had a different colored back.
Should I be telling him to shut up?
Don't you wonder what it means? He's got
Yeah,
something.
once again, like I said, when this trial is a complete farce. What are you doing, Mr. Wright?
Now, to be fair to you, the trial being a farce actually does tie into the story
Leave the
here.
objection right when you're about to get off the hook. Ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I love this bit from the judge. Mr. Payne, you of all people should know.
Oh boy.
Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous.
True.
Even
That
the
is actually true.
Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things.
To be
By the way,
fair-
get off the stand.
To be fair, Phoenix as the witness does get to request the stuff.
Let's clear up the facts about that game that fateful night.
As was said before, we alternated between two decks of cards that night.
That was said before.
Was said
We know-
before. Thank you,
he
Payne.
just said that.
The two decks of the cards have different colored backs, blue and red.
I swear, it's like Takumi forgot what he wrote like a minute before sometimes in this game.
That may be you forgetting certain details, but I see your point with that one.
Why use different colored backs?
If we use the same color, the two decks might get mixed.
Yeah, that's what they meant. That's usually done in a couple of games, but poker, I don't
you use
remember.
different colors and they still got mixed up.
We used the red deck for the last game.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
I see, but that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you're using the blue cards.
What, just because I used to wear a blue suit?
Yeah, me too.
Get it? The
Wink,
first
wink.
get it? The first deck was blue, but now the current one is red. Like a changing
I'm
of
sure
the
it's not
card.
This is the same subtlety of Metroid SCWRM. Whatever. In the end, one card of the wrong color got into the mix,
And look, the blue is the one that's out of place in the red deck.
which means there was cheating.
Wow, I'm only just now realizing these metaphors.
It's a cry out from Takumi and the director for help.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yes, a card got slipped into the deck at the wrong time, yet this card raises two serious questions.
It just raises too
Apollo?
many questions.
Yes?
Let's consider the first question, shall we? How
What
rushed
color is your
was this
underwear?
game? Think, in the last game, when was the card swapped?
When?
There are three broad possibilities here.
One of them is you're lying.
It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder.
After. Yeah, thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright.
Ah, yes, Captain Obvious to the rescue.
Of course, it was the...
Oh?
You didn't even let him finish.
It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne, or it might not be.
Well, maybe you'd know if you let him finish.
Lincoln.
Christ, Phoenix Wright turned into a dick in this game.
To be fair, it's Payne, he kind of earned that one. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. And he's been considered for good old Apollo. Cherish it.
When was the card swapped into the deck? Afterwards.
Yeah, it's
Perhaps it
obvious.
happened after the murder?
Objection! What's that? Ridiculous! What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly.
Silly is as silly does.
Objection!
Jesus.
Yes, but tell me,
Oh?
how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible.
He has a point there.
Actually, objection! Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible.
Well, considering how
we
at some
may
point the
stick-
court did see the ghost of a murderous girl show up, I guess he's got a
When the
point.
back of the cards are a different color.
What does
If
that
you
even...
pull back during the game, you'd be caught in no time.
If you can manage to hide it well enough.
There's the problem, though. If you got the dealer watching you, unless the dealer's in on it, then that's kind of nigh impossible. Especially when there's only 2 people playing. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown. After the murder.
So you need to analyze the fingerprints on it. Objection! Okay, this is going past silly and straight on to crazy.
Oh, just...
Pain, are you aware of which
Again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over?
Pain, are you aware of which series you're in?
He is, Pedro. He
What
just
was that?
stated about the world. You'll see. Who indeed? That's one of the mysteries before us.
Okay,
Who
when did
done it?
Mr. Right get a thesaurus shoved up his arse? There's another?
Of course. Reggie.
Yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked, I dear
You know
sir.
what?
By the
Yeah.
way,
Sorry.
by the way, he doesn't talk like this in Dual Destinies.
You know, Jova, I think the S Attorney series could use their own equivalent of the catchphrase of the truth being stranger than fiction.
You know what? That's a good point. The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only 2 remain in the room. Alive, that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga O'Reilly.
Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for a blue?
I swear, one day he's going to make a hole in his forehead.
The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Right, of course.
It's a pretty thick forehead, though.
And, well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Early.
Also, there's an... Okay, that hair animation there was fine, but I don't know. There's something about the animations of the sprites that... I don't know. Maybe I'm just misremembering it, but I think the original sprites were more fluid. than
They
the
did.
animations.
This is one of the issues I have with the HD versions. It's, again, the frame rate and fluidity of the sprites in this upgraded one. Like, if you pay attention, even the mouths don't move as smoothly as they did in the DS
So
version.
who was this mysterious changer then?
Believe me, guys, if I had the capacity to record DS footage, I would, but I don't.
Oh, no.
That's
No,
what
no,
this room
that's
is
okay,
for, but
Dwibs.
it's okay, Dwibs.
I just can't believe you made the mistake of swapping the wrong color card.
If anything, it allows me to properly criticize what should have been a much better remaster than this.
I mean, okay, you know what, though? I will say this, though, visually looking at it, animations aside, this is definitely what we should have gotten as Ace Attorney HD. My only real problem is maybe some upgraded looks and the fluidity. And even then, it's not something you'll always notice unless you're paying that much attention. Still should have been better, but I will
Don't get
admit
me wrong,
this is a
it's
better
service-
play at it.
Don't get me wrong, it's a serviceable port, but I still think it's in a much better platform. It should have been the definitive version.
I agree, and that's why I still to this day stick with the DS versions, even despite that little silly thing that happens in the finale case. But I'll talk about
Kind of
that
a similar
when it's
problem.
relevant.
It's kind of a similar problem I have with the so-called definitive edition of Rayman Legends on the Switch, even though it's the worst version. But
I'll
that's a
ask
topic
more
for
about
another
that
day.
later.
Anyway, who was this mysterious person?
Yeah, go ahead.
Huh?
I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction.
Aw, yeah.
Well, like the series tried to.
Yes.
New direction?
Yeah, One Direction.
Boo.
It was obvious.
We'll find that, indeed, after.
Teo. I thought you said you always like to think outside the box.
Someone swapped one of the cards in the
like
victim's
GLaDOS
hand.
said, sometimes
that
the solution
someone
problem is the easiest one.
made 2 critical mistakes. So here's the thing. The person who swapped it may have been the person you suspect. I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first was swapping the wrong color card.
Well, of course, the person is the one we least suspect. That's always how it is in mysteries.
Yeah.
Because the one who did the swap didn't know 2 colors of cards were being used.
So a colorblind person?
The other mistake was the number on the card.
Right. The person replaced the 5th ace with
With
a
a
king.
king.
I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a 5th ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in.
Sure. I guess.
Objection! But there's one problem.
What?
And that is?
According to our case record, this person doesn't exist.
Dun dun dun!
True, not until now, but you have to admit the possibility of a 4th person. Though, it's more than a possibility.
Yeah, this is a classic Phoenix Wright, bluffing his way out of things.
Yeah. There was someone else that night at the scene of the crime. I will
What
admit...
helps this time he actually witnessed everything.
Yes, and I will admit... let's just say, ironically, this time, the reason Phoenix is this confident is because he's had time to prep for this. This'll make sense in context.
I kind of feel bad for Apollo because everything.
That's
he's
exactly
supposed
my
to-
problem, Shiroi. Like, this is supposed to be the introduction of a character in a complete farce.
And,
I feel like
yeah.
with the back and forth between
Imagine-
Gustav and Phoenix, it's almost
imagine
like
if
a
in the
quiet
first-
Apollo,
sorry.
the big kids are talking kind of moment.
Well, Teo,
Imagine if in the first game at the first trial, Mia hijacked the entire show and Phoenix was just there doing nothing.
Yeah. You know, hey, no, that's actually a good time for me to bring up. It's at moments like
You
this...
chose to
Yeah,
conceal
no.
the information from the court.
True, there's also this.
Uji, I think your phone is ringing.
I suppose
Phoenix,
that
you know
is a
you're not
problem,
supposed to
yes.
have your phone on in the court.
Excuse
sure, I
me,
remember,
little lady.
yes.
It is obviously not my phone because it's not the Silver Samurai theme playing.
Mr.
Yeah,
Gavin,
true.
I'll see you in my chambers during this recess. And Mr. Wright, remember what happened the last time you were in a courtroom?
Certainly, Your Honor. Depends.
Very well. The trial will resume in 20 minutes.
But yeah, it's
I'll
abundantly
break
it's
that.
abundantly clear here, though, the negative effects about. Oh wait, hold on. I think we're about to get that scene.
Yeah.
No, actually.
Oh,
Well,
never
it's
mind.
in the
That's
beginning of the,
saving.
in the beginning of the next part.
I'm sorry if I keep mentioning this, but it's so evident and aggravating because of it.
Yeah. Allow me to step in
Yeah,
again.
I
Like I
agree.
said before,
At least Phoenix, actually did something
exactly.
in his first trial.
God,
Yeah,
sorry.
let me sum it up like this. Again, this is, Shu Takumi himself admits he does not like this because this was one of the executive mandates, having to force Phoenix in to a main role. Because, again, basically the idea with the story is well, let's just say Phoenix fulfills a certain role that was going to be more of the mentor type, but because not only was he forced to put in Phoenix, but he was forced to give Phoenix a substantial role, Shu Takumi, while still wanting to, have the new player character in Apollo, had to make these sort of changes. And again, it does not help that this game was rushed because, right after Rise from the Ashes was done, boom, they had to do this. And
Yeah.
it's abundantly clear here. I can see why Shu Takumi was frustrated here. Why, heck,
can't-
everyone involved was frustrated with this game. I mean,
I can, however, tell you too that when Yamazaki takes over the series, Apollo will magically turn Apollo into a much better character, especially in Spirit of Justice.
It's not even a thing of Apollo being a bad character. It's not
Yeah.
him having a chance. That's pretty boils down
yeah.
to it.
Allow me to...
Tell, trust me, Apollo Justice is practically an Apollo Justice game. Spirit of Justice, I mean. Sorry.
yeah,
Whatever. We'll see more what happens in the next.
Yeah, we'll
part.
see you for part 4, everybody.
To sum it up,
See ya.
though, he does get his time to shine in cases 2 and 3 of this case. God forsake it be case 3.
See ya,
See you later.
Yeah.